Okay, so we're going to start our game against DeonLunsford from the Warworld Battle Circuit Commanders Tournament, Event 7. We're in the losers bracket, having lost to Alderin in the last round. Deon is on Walsh, we're on Nandi. We've had a powerful backing start and then a mobilization. So we're going to see Deon buy the repair bot and then top it. So Deon's setting himself up for some scrap next turn. So Walsh Nandi, from the Nandi perspective, and again in my opinion others' mileage may vary. I mean, Walsh starts with no scrap, as do you, but a bit of row control, which is anathema to your desire to grab bombs. So scrap's important to both. But Walsh does start with a damage advantage on you, and you obviously have the trade advantage, but Walsh has that gambit that can really spike a bomb into their deck or a base to play. So we're going to get rid of everything that's not the 2 trade, and we're going to buy both a Parasite and a Predator. We want to try and bridge that damage gap as soon as possible, and see what we can do in that regard. So we're going to take the authority here. I quite like grabbing authority with our starters to really pad out our life total, as it were. We're going to see that later on, and we're going to pick up Solar Skiff. We've got a Parasite and a Predator which draws. Solar Skiff has some blue to support it in our deck, so we're going to try and set up a draw engine against Deon and see where that takes us. So 7969, authority totally meaningless at this stage of the game. He's going to scrap out, he's going to buy a Ravager, great. Mining Map pop, so he's going to buy that. So Deon's now 2 scrappers up to our 0, but he does leave a Mining Mech on the row, which we're going to be able to pick up, put it to top because we want to try and get use out of that immediately. We're then going to gambit to pull it, and we're going to get rid of a scout, and then we're going to take the Lancer. That does unfortunately drop a Peacekeeper, which we're in no position to take, and Deon with his gambit is absolutely going to be able to grab, and that's super bad news for us. So we're going to get the repair bot because that's at least a bit more scrap. We're leveling the scrapping field. We've now both got a mining mech and a repair bot, but Deon's going to pick up Peacekeeper here, and it's just going to be awful. Peacekeeper is, I mean, it's already a great card, and he's now going to, with the wormhole, see it straight to hand, so deploying it into action, having purchased it. And he's got rid of Eddie and a trade star there. Star Barge. So this is bad news. In the long game now, Deon with an authority lead probably wins unless we can work some magic here, because Peacekeeper is giving him a 12 differential every turn, and we have Parasite, we have Predator, but we're light on other good cards. We're going to bring back Mining Mech with that wormhole, scrap out again, buy some bacon. Because of our full cards left in deck, we're going to cycle through into the next deck, so Bacon's going to miss a whole deck, which is great news because you don't want to keep seeing that card. Pick up another Solar Skiff, and then we're going to pick up the Oracle. Bit of soak, not as good against Walsh because obviously the butt is smaller, but it's still going to afford us some scrap and a bit of soak against what he's got coming. Again, taking authority, trying to pad our life total there and play out the rest of our hand. We've left a gunship for him, not perfect, but with Eddie gone, the one of the main risks of gunship is also a little softened. It's not going to bring Eddie to hand, Emperor's Dreadnought. So just getting rid of Bacon, hitting us in the face, and now at least we can get a bit of draw going. We've got Parasite and Predator, and again, authority, really padding that life total, going to draw with Solar Skiff. And then there's not a lot on the road that's terribly wonderful for us. We're going to take a central station, purely because, again, if Walsh gets rolling on bases, then we don't want to see that. And then we get the trade, and we're going to take Predator again, dropping a Star Barge, which You could take here. I think it would be a mistake because on its own, Star Barge is really, really underwhelming. It's less useful in a commander game when your opponent has a 6-card hand, and Deon's not really gone for yellow in a way, so the danger of him getting a discard going against us, which can really hurt our game plan, is not too much of a worry, so we just leave it out there. I'm not interested in it, don't want it. So Deon gets rid of it. I don't think he has to there, but he gets a convoy bot for his troubles, which is a great pickup. And then there's another repair bot on the row which he leaves, and Deon not taking any of those bases. So there's an argument to be said for leaving them because you don't want to reveal bombs for Nandi to gobble up. There's also an argument to be said for taking at least the storage silo, which will pair beautifully with his Peacekeeper. A 4-bat is still a pain to get rid of, and it's going to be draws. It's going to be draws with PK. He leaves it. I think that's also fine. We're going to top our repair bot here. We're going to scrap with a repair bot. We're going to scrap with Oracle. We're going to scrap the repair bot from play because we don't want to see it again. We've just topped one. And then we'll leave everything on the row. So we're going to be scrapping 2 next turn. Authority totals are fairly close, but in comes a bit of damage and a bit of scrap for Deon. Again, Trader are kind of snarled up. No one really wants to buy anything and reveal juice for the opponent. So scrapping, we take another scrapper, and that reveals a central station, which we'll grab because we've already got one. And then we'll take the Falcon to top. And that does, unfortunately, reveal, we'll scrap that repair bot from play, and that does reveal a hero for Deon to grab. Not great, but, that's what gets revealed. Convoy bot and gunship coming in. We've got a patience rewarded, which Deon's going to get rid of the trade hauler. Presumably he doesn't want me to have that trade. I'm not really interested in that, though. That's not a card I want. I am interested in the solar skiff, but Deon grabs it. And a recon mission gives him another 2 trade, but he can't pick up Wrecker without scrapping his gunship here, and he does. So now he's got a Peacekeeper and a Wrecker, and the game is still young enough that Wrecker can have an impact, although Deon's not going to see it for another hand and a half at the very best. So we're going to have to discard. Now we discard the starter there. 2 authority is not really worth keeping when we're looking down the barrel of drawing 3 cards or 2 cards instead of 3 if we dump any solar skiff or Falcon. And we absolutely do want to see Commander Morris. We want to try and minimize the damage that Wreck is going to do by scrapping out proactively before Deon gets the chance to. So we're gonna draw some cards here, and then we're going to slap down the bacon and draw with a Falcon. Predator doesn't have a friend. We do want to see Frontier Ferry because that's going to give us the ability to punch through a base when we need to, and also provide us with a bit more authority. Having drawn cards with Parasite and Predator, which was arguably a lucky draw, we're going to scrap those 2 cards from our discard pile. We're going to draw with Morris, and we were looking to get another scrap. We don't want to scrap any of the cards in our hand right now, so we're just going to get rid of the bot because we don't want to see it. And again, taking authority with that starter and a bit of discard there. The Falcon's not doing as much good outside of that, so making Deon discard 2 here is probably good. We ended up not taking the Frontier Ferry because of the way our hand worked out, and Deon's going to pick it up here after he's done a bit of scrapping and played with the starters. So initially on this turn I remember thinking, oh, my central station's going to live, because he's just going to get rid of the bacon, but no, he tops and scraps his repair bot and punches through both of those. So nice play there by Deon because he didn't want to leave us in a position where we were getting authority from 2 central stations and being able to put up a wall. So we're going to take the storage silo. We're going to continue to scrap. We didn't really want the storage silo, so we do actually scrap it from the yard because there's nothing else better there. And we're going to take click because, again, at this stage of the game, we really don't want our opponent to have click. And, it's a discard against him. So we're 32-15. We feel like we're okay. Hand a bit uninspiring, but we can click one of our cards, maybe even the mining mech, and then if we draw terrible, we can always cycle that back away to get a blue or a green, because we've got to presume our bases aren't going to survive. So really all we have to do is survive. We might be able to punch. But what's going to happen now is Deon's going to pick up some authority. There's a Moonworm on the row. He's going to get Peacekeeper. He's going to scrap out the Moonworm. He's going to get a Warp Jump. And there's Revealed Bacon, which for Walsh is a fairly easy pickup. And he does in fact pick it up with the mining mech, bringing out the Imperial Palace. He's going to scrap for health. And he's going to give us a real good slap around with that and drop us to 11. Now, the amount of times we've taken authority from our starters, that could easily have been dead, but getting 15 authority from that starter is proved to be worthwhile. So we warp jump into 2 draws and a spike pod. So we're going to pop the spike pod at the bottom, and we're going to take a skiff so that we can draw into things. And what we're looking to do here is end the game, because Deon's at 10 cards in his deck, and 2 of those cards are Wrecker and Peacekeeper, so he's going to easily have enough to absolutely smash us. We're interested, therefore, in getting an Imperial Palace and deploying it so that we can draw more cards and force him to discard cards. And 2 Solar Skiffs gives us draws, which gives us more draws with Predators. We're going to Mining Mech for no scrap, and we're going to top Imperial Palace. Bombardment, not great news, because that's going to hurt us for 6 and it doesn't do anything for Deon. But we get a trade mission and a warp jump, which is interesting, and a Frontier Ferry pops up. So as we said, we did want to see that Imperial Palace. We're going to top the Frontier Ferry before we draw, because that's going to get through his base and allow us to not have to spend 3 damage on it, and we're going to draw the other card anyway. So Imperial Palace, then we get into Bacon, and we've got the Lancer that we want to play before we get rid of his Bacon. We've got the Frontier Ferry. We're going to cycle through there. That gives us a central station so we can get rid of our Cycler, so that we can draw another card, hopefully get a bit more damage, and there we go. We've got lethal now. We shouldn't really have bought that. That was a bit showy, and you know, we could have been punished there with a +7 authority event, and the same with the Screecher. When we've already got lethal, we shouldn't be buying more damage. But I know where my head was at there. But that was those were 2 bad plays. They were unnecessary and could have punished us. We didn't get punished. We can ferry, and we can drop all that damage, and we can beat Deon in a close game that, honestly, if it had gone 1 more turn, or if Deon had one of those events that I got, could easily have been a reversal. But that was tight. Walsh is always a good game. I always find it quite interesting with Nandi. But good game, Deon, and we march on to the next round.